Hi friends of Work, Learn, Share, Develop. In this video, as many of you requested, I'm gonna show you how to create a Compass app with Flutter. If you have any question, you can write to me in the comment box below and feel free to ask me everything you need. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for all the kind of technology and programming videos. Let's begin. Okay, to develop a Compass app for Android devices, we will use Flutter, and in particular, we will use this useful compass tool that I recently developed. So also, if you see that there is any trouble with your application or your devices, please let me know. Now we open Android Studio and we start a new Flutter project. We select Flutter application. We give as project name Compass app, but you can choose whatever name you want. Sometimes every time we create a new Flutter application, we have to re-specify the Flutter SDK path. So for me, the SDK path is in source Flutter. Then we specify the project location. Then we will have to remember it because to develop the Compass app, we will need to add a Compass image that you can find in the description of the video. Then to your project you can give a description, for example, test for a Compass app. Then in the project description we can, for example, write test for Compass app, and then we click on next. Here you can specify your company domain, and you can include support for Kotlin Android code or Swift for iOS code. In this case, we didn't need this, so we can uncheck these two sections, and then we click on Finish. Now we wait that Android Studio creates all the Flutter project. Okay, now we can see that Android Studio has created our project. On the left we have all the files that we need for our project, and the first file that we have to edit is the pubspec.yaml. Here we specify the name, the description, the version, and all the dependencies and plugins and assets that we need for our application. The first thing also that we can do is to clear all the comments that we don't need. So we have a clear code with unneeded parts. Okay, the first thing that we have to include is the Compass tool plugin, that we can do it by writing Compass tools, and we have to specify the version. Keep in mind that this is the first version, so maybe when you will see the video you have to check on the pubdev Compass tools that maybe also the version of the plugin has changed. Okay, another thing that we have to specify in this file is the folder where we are going to locate the image of the compass. So here we write down assets and we specify the folder that we will use for our assets. That in our case we will create a folder that we name assets. Right click on the project, we click on new directory, and we name the directory assets. Then we are going to take the image that we downloaded and we are gonna copy this image of the compass to the folder of the project. So we go into the folder of the project, we search for the asset directory that we have created from Android Studio, and we copy the image. Okay, now we return on Android Studio and we click on Packages Get. This operation must be done every time you add some dependencies. For example, in this case we have added the compass tools, and to keep sure that it works we run packages get. To be sure that everything is set up okay, we can run the simple application that Android Studio creates when you create a new Flutter project on the virtual machine of Android from the AVD manager. As you can see, all works fine. This is the basic application of Flutter, where we have only one button, and by push it increments the number on the center of the screen. It seems a stupid thing to do to run the application at the beginning, but it's very useful when you had other dependencies and external sources, because you know from the beginning that you have included them right. Okay, the first thing that we have to do is to clear all the code that we don't need. So all this part of the code. And then we import all the library that we need. The first library that we need is the compass tool plugin. So package compass tools.dart. And the second is a package called services, that is a Flutter packages. Then we modify our basic class that it does not extend stateless widget but stateful widget. In this case we are going to create a state that we call my app state, that call a class that we are going to implement that we call my app state. Okay, this class extends a state that we call my app. And now we're going to implement all these state. How does it work, the Compass Tools plugin? The Compass Tools plugin has two channels, a method channel and an event channel. The method channel is used to check if we have the right sensors for our application to be run. So if we have the accelerometer and the magnetometer or the gyroscope. If we don't have any of these three sensors, the application does not work. In other hands, the event channel is used to get data every time our sensor gets new information. Okay, we create two variables. That's the first, it's an integer that we call sensor. and another that is a string where we will write down the sensor type that we have with our application. Okay, now we have to create a future state where we call our method channel to check if we have the correct sensors for our app. So we override the method init state and we call a method that we're going to write down now, device sensors. This method is of type future, does not return anything, and is async. Okay, here we have an integer where we will store the type of our sensor. And we'll try to get zeta. In this case, we can handle any type of exception that we can find on the code. Okay, to call our method in the method channel, we can write down await compass tools, that is the library on our plugin, check sensor. This method returns 0 if we don't have any sensor for our compass, 1 if we have only accelerometer and magnetometer, and 2 if we have the gyroscope, that is the best sensor that we can have for our application. Okay, once we have this value, we can create a switch case on the variable app sensor. Case 0, we define that the string sensor type, in this case we don't have no sensor for compass, and then we write the other two cases. As we told before, 0 no sensor for compass, 1 accelerometer plus magnetometer. If it returns 2, the sensor type is gyroscope. We can also create a default case, so if we don't have any of this value, there is an error, so we can write down error. Then the last thing that we can do on this state is to check if we have any data. So if it's not mounted, we can return that because we don't have any data. And then we can set our state app sensor with the value that we have with the check sensors of compass tools. Why we use a string? Because in this example I will use this string to show on the app which type of sensor we need. If you don't want to do this, you can use only the numbers, so 0, 1 or 2, to check which type of sensor you have. Now in this last method we are going to define the layout of our application. In the layout we will also define the stream where we will get the data from the event channel, so the direct data from the sensor. As you can see, we will use a material app that in the home we will have an app bar that has a simple title that you can define whatever you want, but I choose Compass app. And then in the body we define a container and a column where now we are going to put the stream to get the data from the event channel of the sensor. So in the column we create a stream builder with a stream that is predefined in the plugin that is called Azimuth Stream. And then we define the builder. The builder has a context and an async snapshot that is an integer. In our case is the azimuth of the device, and it is stored in the variable called snapshot. Okay, now we check if the snapshot has any data. If it's right, we return a padding with an edge inset, so the image that is contained in this padding is not on the border on the screen and in the child we define a center where we have a rotation transition and in the padding we define a center widget, and inside in the center widget we define a rotation transition of the image asset compass.png. How it knows to rotate the application? From the data that we receive from our stream. So this snapshot is the azimuth value that we get from the event channel of the Compass tool plugins. Then, if we don't have any data, we can return a simple text that we have an error in our stream. Another thing that we can add is a simple text where our application shows which type of sensor has our devices. Now it's time to test our application, so we click on Run and we wait until the app compiles. As you can see, the app works and we have also the text that says which type of sensor we have on this device. As you can see, if we rotate the device, also the compass rotates. A thing that you also want to prevent is that the applications changes the screen from portrait to landscape. So to do that, we go on the top of the application in the void main and we type down system chrome dot set preferred orientation device orientation dot portrait app. Then once we define the orientation of our device, we can run the application. So run app my app. So run app as we did before my app. Thank you for watching. If you have any question, feel free to ask me in the comment box below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.